Alright guys, welcome back to Buffering Syndrome. I got the cue from my director. I'm good to start. So I hope you enjoyed our summer movie list. If you haven't got a chance to check that out just yet, I'm sure we can put the link here somewhere. Or it should be right above this in the channel guide. Anyway, I had a thought in my head since, for obvious reasons, July 13th. I believe that was the last Friday the 13th we had. We're now mid-August, about a month. And a couple different things came to mind. One is mainly how sequels can really, from an actual story standpoint and filming standpoint, not, cast or directors coming back, that sort of thing, really make or break, their potential in the first few moments. Horror sequels, I think more so to this point because for cash grab reasons, so many are just complete crap. So, watching Friday the 13th Part 2, a few things stood out to me, and I really took note in the last viewing. I hadn't before. I mean, I like the movie and I know everything happens. I watch it way too many times. But the opening scene, it does such a good job in quickly recapping the original Friday the 13th, at least the climax, which is really what you need, along with that killer ending of, spoiler alert, Jason popping out of the lake and pulling her underneath, but also then setting up that the horror's not over. I mean, obviously they made a second movie, but this is when, Jason shows up and you go into a different direction. But I wanted to take a second, or a few minutes, however long this video turns out to be, to break down what I consider a good opening to a sequel, and that is to analyze the opening scene of Friday the 13th Part 2. So, if you'll indulge me for a few moments, let's get started. Okay. I know what you're thinking. Part 2 doesn't have the hockey mask. I know, I just wanted to do it for show. Anyway, there's 3 points I want to make to Part 2 being the great opening of a sequel that I think it can be. Part 1 is the successful recap of Friday the 13th, the original movie. As you saw in Halloween and Halloween 2, as Halloween 2 picked up right after the first one ended, it opened up with the same scenes. We saw the climax, the stabbing with the eye, the falling out the window, the shots. Friday the 13th does similar in that you do see the same climax. You see Alice killing Mrs. Voorhees, you see Jason coming out of the water and pulling her down, but you don't see it as just like a deliberate movie scene. You see it through a dream or nightmare sequence of Alice, as she was the lone survivor. Obviously, some time has passed. I thought that was a nice touch. It's recapping, but knowing, obviously, the characters are still dealing with this issue. Yeah, so just, not reliving the scenes as a whole, but making them part of the new story. And again, not in a way that it precludes you from watching the first one, but you're caught up to speed and then seeing clearly, like I said, you see the decapitation. You see Jason pulling her under. You see her then being told by the cops after she wakes up in the hospital, there is no boy. There is no Jason. And her last words were, well, then I guess he's still out there. The second thing I wanted to touch on is that this movie set up the new direction that the franchise was headed. Because, Jason's just a boy in the first one. Obviously, Jason becomes the killer in this one. In the fact that Mom's dead. She's beheaded. She's not coming back. There's no way you're reinvigorating that storyline. She somehow survived that. It was not ambiguous. It was, okay, bye. But as this opened with Alice in presumably her home, I don't see anything to say otherwise, with the lightning flashing on the street in some suburban area of America, you see legs. You see somebody walking, getting the idea that they're walking towards the house. You don't see anything above, I don't know, back of the knee down, but something's not right there. And all in all, this whole long outdrawn opening scene, once the scene finally ends, you realize there's another threat. You realize that there's something else out there that just because, she survived in 80 when all her friends were killed doesn't mean she's safe forever. There's still something coming after her. And again, I think this scene does the best to highlight that new threat. To put it right in the forefront, rather than open with, years later, kids going back to the camp thinking everything's great. They do that. But they don't do that in the opening scene. They do that after this with new characters. And in a way, it was a great transition. When one character survives, you still see their fate before you moving on to the new batch of poor suckers that end up getting brutally butchered. And then I think the third thing is the horror aspect, which obviously applies to horror sequels in general, but this one was done well. First of all, she's walking through a big, damn empty house. Creepy enough on its own. She's clearly there by herself. The lightning, the thunder, the rain outside, not helping the case. the shots linger on open doorways and the hallway she walks to and from, the bedroom, the kitchen, the living room phone, constantly getting you on edge that something's coming around the corner, something's coming up behind her, something's in the house. All but really a tease. And then you get the phone ringing. Another classic horror trope. Her mom wanted to check in. You get the little bit of back and forth from one side, hey, I'm doing okay. Yes, I'm not ready to talk about it. People died, it's intense. And they play that trick with the phone just to keep you going back and forth that, again, somebody's out there watching the classic phone call. And she finally goes into the kitchen. She swears she hears something outside that kitchen window. Outside Dad, that's how I talk now, apparently. Outside the kitchen window. And you're on the edge. You're back like this at this point because she's leaning closer and closer with the camera over her shoulder. Closer and closer and closer. For some reason, it's open in the storm. And BAM! What you think would be the guy outside or figure outside coming through with a knife or something else. That's a damn cat. Classic misdirection, but also maybe a subtle nod to Alien? I don't know. I like to think so. She calms it down. She's like, "I'll get you some food. It's fine." Then the big scare comes, which sets up the whole movie and the whole franchise aside from the hockey mask. She opens the refrigerator. There's the head. And I mean, she's just going in for food, and there's the head of the victim, the head of Mrs. Voorhees that she thought she had taken care of. Needless to say, huge scream ensues, and then immediately, whatever that figure was we saw outside, behind her, killing her, and then we just get the final shot of the cat watching. And then, of course, it goes to all happy summer camp festivities until the body count rises. But I think to come full circle, I think in three ways, Friday the 13th Part 2 set up the franchise and the sequel itself as, in my opinion, quite successful. You had the recap through the nightmare sequence. You had the new direction with the clear death of the villain in the first movie and now the appearance of the villain in the second film. Through, obviously, some sort of stalker or sense memes knew where to go, but I guess that's part of being Jason. And then you had the horror aspect, playing on the tropes of the thunderstorm, the empty house, the phone ringing, the lingering shots on doorways and hallways, and then finally that opening scene kill before you do the opening credits. So that's my spiel on the opening of Friday the 13th Part 2. Feel free to agree, disagree, yell at me in the comments. I mean, go for it. You could say that movie sucked. It won't hurt my feelings. I still like it. Perhaps you like other ones more. I mean, I am really partial to 6. 7's not bad. 4's pretty good as well. I mean, who am I kidding? I love the whole franchise. But yeah, any thoughts on Friday the 13th, the series? I'm welcome to it. Hope you enjoyed this video, and we'll be back shortly with several other things in the works, including a rundown of Comic-Con 2018 as far as Warner Brothers and the trailers they drop for upcoming films. So stay tuned for that, and thanks for watching.